Head coach Phil Martelli Jr. and Brandon Jennings. We'll ask Coach Martelli to make an opening statement, then we'll open it up for questions. Go ahead, Coach.
It's a thrill to be here, to be in the Atlantic 10, certainly for the 50th anniversary. I've been very fortunate to grow up through this conference and to be around for probably 40 of the, have memories of 40 of the 50 years. I'm not quite old enough to have memories of all 50 years, but to be part of such a great conference, such a competitive conference, one that has a serious identity on the East Coast, is really something special. And, we're thrilled to have a chance to compete. There's a lot of really good teams, a lot of really good players, great coaches, and it should be a very fun year, very competitive year in the league.
Open it up for questions in front.
Matt Maderno from Mid-Major Madness.
Hey,
Coach, how much of the style you played at Bryant carries over to what you want to do in the A-10? Or are there things that maybe don't translate quite the same way in a different league?
Yeah, I mean, we have a certain way that we like to play, and there's certainly the structure of it, the bones of it will always remain the same. Now, regardless of whether we're at VCU or Bryant or in the Atlantic 10 or America East, doesn't really matter to me. It's really team to team. What is it that this team does well, and what can we highlight? So this group is put together in a way that there's certain things we can do. There's certain things that we need to adjust that will change. But I think the overall, we want to be up tempo. We want to be aggressive. We want to be, disruptive on defense. Things like that will always be part of our program and really fit well with this group and with, VCU.
Questions? Just raise your hand in the back.
Tyler Cronin, 3-bid league.
Hey, Tyler.
Brandon, has it gotten through to Coach yet in his first couple of months on the job just how big of a fan favorite you are?
Has it gotten through him?
That answer is a yes. Yes.
But probably I would say so. I mean, the community and the fan base has definitely supported me very well through my whole journey here, and I'm just blessed to be a part of it.
I will follow up with that. The real credit to Brandon is, obviously he is what he is as a player. Just tremendous winner, relentless. He's everything we want out of somebody. But my oldest son is a sophomore in high school. When he went to tour, he did not go to St. Christopher's, where ended up going to St. Christopher's where Brandon went. But when my wife toured there, and then when he shadowed there, they highlighted Brandon Jennings, and not because of the VCU connection. They both said you could tell it was genuine. Like, they're so proud of Brandon Jennings there, and that permeates throughout Richmond and the area. And we couldn't be more proud to be with him at VCU, because he's everything that's right about college basketball. He's everything that's right about the Richmond, Virginia area. He's everything that's right about VCU.
Brandon, just what was it, what was the decision like ultimately to stay at VCU? Was there any temptation to head elsewhere with the coaching change, and just how excited are you to be back for another year?
Yeah, it was a stressful process, but the community and the staff beyond the coaches itself just made it easy. My small talks with Martelli, Jay Wall, just all of the support staff around us just helped make that decision for me.
Matt Maderno, Mid-Major Madness for Phil. You had a lot of success with the DeMatha guard or wing in Earl Timberlake. You bring another one in Tyrell Ward. Was that just a happy coincidence, or were you looking at any of the DMV guys? You also have Nick Lewis coming in from the area too.
Yeah, we love winners, right? And I think we have a lot of winners, on this team, regardless of where they're from. We've had success in the DMV. We've had success in a lot of other places, right? But winners, people that come from winning programs that understand what that means. Because in this day and age, it's easy to get lost in yourself and the clicks and the likes and all this other stuff. Like, it's easy to get lost in that, And I think sometimes as older people, we sit there and go, oh, this generation. Well, it's what they're growing up with. It's what they're used to. So that is part of it, right? but I think being able to find guys that winning matters. And I think if you walked in our gym, and I think Brandon could tell you too, like you walk in our gym and you feel that. Like winning matters. And we have guys, even in July, that are diving on the floor after loose balls to go win a segment. You have guys that are walking out of the gym, pissed off because their team got beat that day, right? And it's like, well, it's July, right? Like it's August 31st. It's September 18th. Like it's not March 10th, right? So that's something we look for, regardless of where they come from. Certainly we have ties in certain areas that are going to be stronger and allow us to maybe get in the door at some places. But finding guys that come from competitive places, come from winning places, that will always be on the forefront of our recruiting.
Jack Morgan, A10 Talk. This is for Coach. You've been around a coaching culture really for almost your entire life. What lessons have you taken from your dad that have allowed you to be able to lead teams like Bryant and hopefully lead a team like VCU to success this year?
Yeah, I'll change your question. Not almost. It's been since the day I was born. He was the coach at Bishop Kenrick High School, and then obviously on to St. Joe's. But from him, it's always been about the people, right? It's about the people. Like, and for us, it's easy to care about number 0 when number 0 gets you 15 points and has 9 rebounds and has 4 steals and things that Brandon will do, with ease at times. But it's about caring about Brandon, right? Like, who is he? And our first conversation when I brought all the returning guys in, actually even the guys that were leaving, Max and Zeb and Jack and Phil and those guys, Joe, when I sat with these guys, my first question to them was like, tell me about you. And some of the guys would be like, well, I'm a point guard. And I don't, the basketball, I don't care about that. Who are you, right? And I think getting down to that. And in this world that we're in now, especially in college athletics, it's very transactional. We all know that. But I still believe in the relationship piece, right? And helping people and the transformation piece, right? And not just the transformation of, okay, coach to player, but player to coach as well, because they help change it. Him and I had a conversation eating dinner last night about that I need to know what it is that you see and feel, and that'll help adjust what I'm doing, right? And there has to be that give and take to it. There has to be that relationship, but it has to come down to people, and that's always been my dad's secret sauce. Was always that he related to people better than anybody else. He could connect with people, still is, better than anybody else, and that's what our conversations are. It's never, well, you should have played more zone, or you should have ran this play, or he doesn't ever bring that up. It's always, we had a game this year about he called me after a game and said, hey, you need to talk to the one kid on your bench. He did an unbelievable job on your bench. He said, that's a kid that started in your rotation, was out of the rotation now. He said, and he was up on the bench cheering on his teammates. You need to highlight that. So that was something I made sure the next day in film, we put that on film. We made sure, like, hey, look at what he's doing. This is about the team. This is about winning, and that's where he's always been great.
Tristan Freeman, Boston Brackets. Coach, Brandon Jennings isn't the only return player you're able to maintain. You also brought back Michael Bell and Christian Furman. What have you seen
And Terrence Hill and Obi Okafor.
What have you seen from those two this offseason, in particular, that feels like you'll be able to put the part of rotation?
Well, those guys, that group of 5, they set the tone for what any success we have this year, any success we have in future years will be because of that group of guys. When we started workouts, there were days, some of them were visiting places, were in the portal, were, injuries, whatever. Like, there were days we had anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6 guys, in a workout. And they set the tone for what that work ethic would look like, the level of play, the level of competition. I'm forever grateful for that group. And, just from what I've seen from that group, one, they are great people. Credit to Ryan Odom and his staff. They had tremendous people in that program. And that was something that's always been important to me. So to have those guys and be around them, be around Brandon and Terrence and Michael and Firm and Obi, from those early days, it made me feel good of, okay, we got something we can build on here. And then, just from the play-wise, like, those guys fit us. I really do believe that. It's a little bit different style than what they played last year, but they do fit us with the up-tempo style and the way that we play. And, the switching at times we do on defense and things like that, the versatility, they all bring some version of that. So they all, and they're very competitive, so they're all going to have a chance.
For Brandon, last year you played behind 4 elite guards in the A-10. You still managed to carve out a role in the rotation. What was the moment for you last year playing with those guys that you knew that you could not only compete with them, but be an actual key piece in the rotation?
I sometimes forget game to game what the order was, but I remember when we played Boston College up in Indianapolis. It was a great moment for me and my team because we was out there to compete, and then I got a great shot out there, and I was just able to produce when I produced, and it was fun to just get out there and play basketball.
We have time for one more question. David, up front.
David Jablonski, Dayton Daily
Hey,
News.
David.
Coach, it's a new era with schools paying athletes directly. How poised is VCU for this new era, and was it challenging, taking over a new program with that major change right on the horizon?
VCU, for as long as I've known VCU, and that goes back quite a ways, they have always been on the forefront of everything. And I'll even go to when they joined the Atlantic 10. I remember a conversation with my father. I was in the CAA at the time as an assistant at Delaware. And I remember him saying, they're coming into the league and they're at the top of everything, right? All these numbers, budgets and recruiting budgets and salaries and things like that. So VCU's always been positioned well. And that is a credit to Ed McLaughlin, our athletic director, to Dr. Rao, our president, to the board, to all these people that empower, that have made sure that VCU has stayed at the top of all those things. So, and when my brother was here with Mike Rhodes, he's the guy I would call. When I'd see something, I'd call him and go like, well, what are you guys doing? Because they were always ahead of it. It would hit us, right? It would hit us to come through the media or whoever, and you say, okay, now there's deregulation. Okay, I'd call Jimmy and say, well, and he goes, yeah, we talked about it 6 months ago, and this is what we're doing. Now, I was at places you couldn't do what they had the capabilities of doing, but we're well positioned. We're very well positioned. And I joke about it, but it's true. They ask me at times, what else do you need? And I look around and go like, what else could I possibly ask for? Like, am I supposed to ask for a spaceship? Like, call NASA, we want to fly to Dayton in a spaceship instead of a regular plane? And honestly, if I asked, they wouldn't look at me like I was crazy. Now, they might think I was crazy, but they would turn around and go, all right, we'll call and ask. Now, they're not going to be able to do it, I don't think. Maybe. But they would do it. And some places you hit that no quickly. Here it's, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. And the way that we're treated as a staff, the way that our players are treated, the way our program is treated, is top of the line. And it's a credit to, again, Dr. Rao, Ed, their teams that are under them, the board, all these people that make sure that VCU men's basketball has what it needs to be successful, and then it's on us to make sure that we are.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
Of amazing stuff here today, I'll tell you that, and I can 100% see why now VCU hired Phil Martelli Jr. for their head coach. I mean, I've worked with his dad. I've known his dad for a long time. I've known Phil for a long time too as well. It's about the people. He's 100% right. You could hear it in his voice. It almost sounds like his father. It's pretty incredible the way they've done this over their career.
Doing it the right way, right?
Yep.
Keep the game as the star. That is the golden rule. And you know when it's there in that regard, and you know when it's not. So just to hear him say that and develop the character of his team with 5 players returning from the championship squad, that's a great foundation for the team to grow.
Incredible program on both sides and at VCU and what they do for their basketball programs. I mean, you heard it from Phil Martelli Jr. just a moment ago. It's like they have an identity, they have the support, they have the facilities, they have the money, they have the fan base. Like it really is an impressive model of like, you want to be in or do you want to be out? Like you want to do it all in and do it right, or are we going to trickle our way into it? I mean, I just have a lot of respect. I mean, look at this. 25 straight winning seasons on the men's side.
That's crazy.
That's incredible. And 9 of the 12 years they've been in this league, they've been in the conference championship game with 3 titles, 2 of the last 3 years.
Yeah, 2 in the last 3 years, like you said. And when you're talking about winning culture and environment, that's what it's all about.
So Phil Martelli Jr., new head coach, coming from Bryant, as you heard, just 2 years there as a head coach from Bryant. But again, been involved in basketball his entire life, with his father, Phil Martelli, who's incredible. And you could hear it in his voice. You know they are cut from the same mold, and he's going to bring this, I think, championship attitude again to VCU to keep things going. They never seem to drop off. They've had multiple coaches year after year, and they just keep it rolling. And this is an incredible hire. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do this year.
Yeah, play the game the right way, right? And that's with the team first mentality. We over me,
Let's hear more from Phil Martelli Jr. He's standing by with Seth in Pittsburgh. Seth?
Thanks, Mike. I am here with Phil Martelli Jr., who is basically an Atlantic 10 historian. Like, you basically grew up with the Atlantic 10.
I really did. Born in 1981. The conference was only a couple years older than that. So, I go back to the days. I say it all the time. I mention some of the schools that have been in the Atlantic 10, and people look at you like, no, they're not. They're in this conference or that conference. I'm like, yeah, they were in the Atlantic 10 one day, and I got to see all of them.
What's your favorite memory, just if we're going to go down memory lane, of the Atlantic 10, and probably, obviously, it has to do with St. Joe's and some of your dad's teams?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, I guess if I had to pick one, it's probably them, him winning the tournament in '97, his second year. When 2 years before that, it was like, will he ever get a head coaching job? And the next thing you know, they win the Atlantic 10 at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, which was obviously near and dear to our hearts. And then they went on to the Sweet 16 that year. So that's one. But, man, I got to see, you see Mark Macon, you see Eddie Jones and Aaron McKee and Marcus Camby and Lou Rowe. And, I mean, you can go through the list and even up to, my time and David West and Jameer, those battles, being on the sidelines for those battles was awesome.
By the way, tell your dad, stop going to the barber. There's really not much to cut.
He still goes. I don't know what he does. That's the best $25 that barber makes. It probably takes 2 snips and he's making his money.
Combs his hair with a Q-tip. But besides that, everything's good. All right. You're the head coach of VCU. Great history. Great tradition. How important was it to have two of your Bryant guys come with you to kind of explain to the new version of VCU what your expectation is all about at VCU?
Yeah, the 5 returning guys at VCU were very, very important. Then you add those 2 guys as like a 7 returning-ish guys. They were new to VCU, but they weren't new to the system. Those guys just help because the days that everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy, they can say, look, this is why. Right? This is why we're doing this. This is what's going to help. They can also, both of those guys, Barry and Keyshawn, the jumps that they've made under us are outstanding. So they can preach to these other guys of like, just stay with it, right? Yeah, this is a tough day today, or you didn't have a great day today, but on the other side of this, this is what it looks like. So I'm thrilled to have them, and they're great people. And at the end of the day, that's been the biggest thing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you didn't know it yet, a little secret, the Siegel Center, it's hard to win there if you're an opponent. So I think you got a pretty good home court, and you're off to a great start.
Yeah,
Congratulations, man.
Thanks, Coach.
Back to you, Mike.
All right, Seth, thanks a lot. Yeah, he's absolutely right. That is one of the hardest environments in not only the league, but college basketball in general, really. It's like the fan support, the PA announcer, the band, it's like it can get away from you in a hurry there when you're playing at VCU.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to stay locked in the lines, right? And you can't look outside those lines and get distracted. You have to stay 10 toes down where your feet are.
A lot of great things that Phil Martelli Jr. Said today, and for VCU, and they're the defending champs. They've won 2 of the last 3. We'll see how they fare this year.